expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Hello, W4CY listeners. Are you ready to learn the spiritual laws to success and wealth? Well, pack your virtual bags, because it's 1 p.m. Eastern and it's time for the Traveling Investor Radio Show, sponsored by Cornerstone Investment Partners and RE/MAX Commercial Realty Partners. Fasten your seatbelts and get ready to get wealthy. And now, here's your host and travel guide, the real estate guru, Nitsan Mosery.
Hey, travelers, welcome. Nitsan Mosery, the traveling investor on W4CY Radio, the best internet radio on the planet. Welcome. We've got another great show for you today. And sitting to my right, I have Joy Nash. Welcome, Joy. How are you?
I'm excellent, thank you. Thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. Before we get into talking with Joy about everything that she's been going on, what we're going to do, first of all, a couple of announcements, and just give me 1 second real quick. I got to turn this off. Hey, there we go. All right, so coming up November 2nd, I've got the Traveling Investor Mastermind group that's happening in Boca Raton, Florida. Here in Florida, November 2nd. Early bird special price is $97. And if you go to, write this down, TTI, that stands for The Traveling Investor, TTImastermind.eventbrite.com, and then you can see the early bird special price of $97. I'm going to have CPAs, attorneys, mortgage brokers, commercial real estate brokers, life coaches. We're going to have nutritionists and people from the health industry. Maybe we'll be lucky and we'll have Joy there as well.
I would love to.
And we're going to talk, the whole point of the mastermind group, is to have a bunch of minds, a bunch of strong, innovative, creative minds working together, solving creatively all the obstacles and challenges that we have in our personal life, business life. Imagine where you could be and where you could take your business, your relationships, whatnot, when you have 10, 15 leaders of industry, leaders of community, leaders of their industry working to solve your issues. It's going to be a fantastic day. I'm thinking of maybe actually making it 2 days because of how many people we've got coming. So, don't delay. Get it today. So it's TTImastermind.eventbrite.com. And I don't know about you, Joe, but my kids went back to school today.
And mine went back on Monday, so I had a couple of good days of relaxation.
There you go, right?
No messy house.
It's great. So it's amazing how, the school system is great for obviously for education and whatnot, but it gives parents freedom so that we can actually go out and have our own schedules, build our careers, yes, and do all that while, of course, educating our children.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So it was a nice week to get everything started and back to work again officially.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's funny. August 22nd, in 8 days from now, it will be 10 years that we're in Boca. It'll be our 10-year anniversary. And I remember when we came, my daughter was 3 and my youngest was 1. And now, first day of school, 8th grade, 6th grade. Unbelievable. Just watching how the time goes by so fast.
I remember when they were little and they were going to school for the first time, and I cried more than them. And it's like now it's like, okay, bye, Mom. Like, oh no,
right?
They're getting comfortable without me.
I remember that as well. I remember taking my daughter the first day to school and calling them 3-4 times. How is she? Is she okay? Is she crying? What's going on? Just that
Yes.
feeling of, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? What am I doing? It's very, very overwhelming.
Well, now I'm worrying about their college because I got, 2 teenagers and an 11-year-old. So, it's okay, we're going to talk to the counselors. What do you want to do? Because, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I wish I had the opportunity to get myself prepared. I kind of liked fitness, but didn't really get into the depth of what I really wanted to do, which I'm doing now. And it's not too late, but I'm really trying to let my kids know that if there's something that you really, really love and you're passionate, at least, start looking into different, like if you're an artist, you might not necessarily want to be a painter, but you're going to be in the film industry.
Sure.
Creating art through the computers and digital technology. So that's where I'm at right now with my kids.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about you, right? So when you were 13, it says here, you started in the world of body awareness. You discovered someone that you call her your savior. Was she like a mentor and a coach to you?
Well, I'd say she was an instrument in my life where, I looked at her because she's a little bit older and she was very powerful and she, had this presence about her, and she worked out, and she had 2 older brothers, and I remember kind of they were pick on her and she would beat them up, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And at that time, my parents, there was a lot of things going on in my family, so we went to me and my mom lived with my grandparents, and at that time, it was a very different neighborhood. I came from Silver Lake, which was pretty much a really cool Italian neighborhood with all my childhood friends, and then I go to this neighborhood that it was like foreign to me. There was no kids around. There was drug dealers and prostitutes and pimps and all kinds of things, and it was like, oh my gosh, I went from this to this. And my mom's like, oh, it's your 13th birthday. What do you want for your birthday? I said, well, I want a mat and I want a weight set. And I started working out, and it really gave me amazing confidence and awareness of health. And I felt really good, and nobody really, knock on wood, really messed with me.
Sure, well, I've seen your muscles, and I understand why nobody messed with you. We got a couple of questions here. So I'm just gonna read Joy's bio a little bit. Joy, so you started getting into the body awareness when you were 13, entering your 20s, and here's a picture before and after. And this is why you're on the show today. Someone who has such an incredible story that from a before and after aspect, right? It takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of motivation. It takes a lot of passion to go from where you were to where you are today. And this is why I have you on the show, because, I talk a lot about mindset. I talk a lot about obstacles. I talk a lot about what does it take for someone to become better, right? Because success is not how much money you have in the bank. It's not how much real estate you have. It's not how much diamonds or whatnot. Success is the person that you become while moving towards a specific goal, right? Mm-hmm. So, from that photo that we just saw from your before and after, you obviously were in a certain state in your life.
Oh, absolutely.
You finally, I'm sure you had a coach, or you've got an education. You got educated about how the body works, how the mind works, what's proper fuel.
Thank goodness to Muscle and Fitness.
Right.
Thank you, Joe Eater.
Right. So it's all so you can go about either having a coach or a mentor that'll show you, teach you whatnot, or you can go out yourself and get educated. But education is extremely important to make change.
Absolutely. Even if you never want to go to college, I tell my kids that all the time. I'm like, oh, I can't wait till I don't go to school anymore. I said, let me just let you know, the more knowledge and educated, of course, wisdom is another thing, but the more knowledge, it's power.
Absolutely.
And especially if you, again, strengthen your mind, and everything's a choice. I hear a lot of people say, well, my parents were X, Y, Z, and, I grew up in a dysfunctional family. My dad was an alcoholic. My mother was a codependent, a lot of things going on, but it was a choice. I saw drugs. My dad at one time sold drugs. He was doing drugs. And I remember opening the drawer, coming home from living with my grandparents, but I still went to the same middle school. And I opened the drawer and I said, all these drugs. And I had a choice right there whether I was going to do that or not. And I said no, because all I can remember is the outcome and what it caused in my family. And I said, I don't want that. And of course, health and fitness was another, so I had a choice. So when people say, well, my parents were XYZ, my mother, God bless her, she has a very negative, outlook in how she speaks. And I was like that. But then again, I had a choice in my life to get better and to get, and I'm not going to stop. I'm taking 12-week public speaking courses, intense courses, because I want better. And it's not just for me, because my kids are better. The way I used to be when I was, married and I was miserable and I was in that situation as a pitcher, to get into the picture, I was 40 years old. I just had my...
So that before picture, you were 40 years old.
Yes.
So paint us the story of who you were back then. So you're 40 years old, you're married.
Yes.
You've got kids.
Got kids.
What kind of work were you doing?
I wasn't working.
You weren't working. You were taking care of the kids.
I was taking care of the kids 24/7.
Eating, drinking.
No drinking.
No drinking. Eating.
It was a lot of hormonal and
Okay.
a lot of stress. I was under a lot of stress. And at that time, my ex-husband's, he's from Brazil, and we went through a lot of problems with the immigration. They lost our documents. We went the second time. They said that we never gave them a paper. It was just hell. A lot of financial burdens it took him 12 years where he didn't have his license. He couldn't get a job. 14 years, thank God, it taught me a lot about being faithful I was faithful to my husband, sticking by him. I did everything I possibly could, but unfortunately that situation really made him bitter and angry, and it changed him a lot. It changed his character, and he was already a very kind of introvert anyway, but he came to that point where he had absolutely no friends.
And what did that do for you, or to you?
It did that something to me to the point where we used to go to church together. And at that time, we were very bonded, and we had friends. And when I had the children, and then we didn't have any friends, I became isolated. And then isolation was depression. And I was like, then to the point where you're not getting anything spiritually fed. So just like your muscles, it goes, atrophy and dead. So you can't see a way out. And I couldn't work out because we didn't have the money. We didn't have the time. And my ex-husband definitely couldn't take care of the kids because 3 is a lot.
Sure.
And I know he wouldn't be able to handle it. Now he can, but not back then. But I just found myself like hopeless. I couldn't see my way out. I was embarrassed because, we were to the point where I didn't have a phone. I couldn't drive. I didn't drive. We didn't have the money to drive.
Oh, wow.
I didn't have even money to even color my hair. And I used to live near the beach. So that was like a part of a big instrument for me to go down to the beach. I used to take all the kids down there, pack everything, and I'd be down the beach every single day. And I would just be by the beach. So that was one of my main outlets to deal with the stress. And then, after 14 years of just trying everything, as far as I was continue to go to church, and, that was a big instrument for me to really get back on track. There was a guy in the neighborhood, an older guy, Larry, and he used to ride his bike and always say hi to us, me and the kids, and give us gum at, this corner store. He said, Joy, we're going to have a Autumn Fest. Would you like to join? And I said, I would love to. And then at that point, I was like, oh my gosh, seeing all these families and all these kids and people. And I said, I got to come back to this. So I used to walk to church, and I got involved in the women's things. And that was like a big turning point in my life. But then I got to the point where I wanted more, because I'm a very deep person. I want a deep digger spiritually. I'm not good with just a little bit. So I was going down the beach, and I ran into an old friend from church, and she said, I'll come pick you up. So she started taking me and the kids, and then it was just, that was again, just more like taking oppression off, and my mind was starting to get stronger and stronger, and I was watching things, and I started reading things, and just being friends. So it's important. It's so important not to get isolated. It's so important to have yourself affirmations, meditate. You have to have alone time every single day. And if you're married, relationship, whatever, respect that person to have that alone time, because everybody needs it.
Sure, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
And I think that really pretty much that's it as far as the.
What would you say was a turning point or a breakthrough that you had, that you said, okay, enough is enough, and this is what I'm going to do? And how did you start the journey from where you were to where you are today? You know, obviously you did 180 degrees, right? You went, you know, you were overweight, you were depressed. Then now, you know, somebody looks at you and says, you know, you were never overweight, you were never depressed. Because, you know, whenever I see you on social media, or we meet at the Association for Women's in Communication, or we talk, you know, you're always energetic, you're always out there, and you're exercising, you're healthy, you're you know, being an example to other women. So what was that breakthrough that you had?
Well, I have to say I pay attention. I'm very good with details. So I just started paying attention to the way my ex-husband was just acting after everything started getting settled with his documentation and everything. And I'm like, okay, he's got a job and everything's going to get better now. And it didn't change. So I started making a plan, and I called up the state, and I said, what do I need to get my massage license back? And they said, and I told the lady my situation, and she said, I'm going to email you everything you need to know step by step. So I would keep looking at that, and I said to myself, well, I got to wait till I'm secure for a year with him for a job, because if I'm going to get a divorce, I have to have a plan and make sure my kids are covered. Mm-hmm. So at that point, I waited a year, and then I said, okay, I called up and I got all the registration, how much it was going to cost, what are my CEUs. I started doing the CEUs. I filed for divorce. My best friend did my divorce for $100, and then I got a job immediately. I walked in and I got a job because I have an associate's degree, even though I hadn't been working a while. So I did everything pretty quick, and I even spun my friends' heads. They were like, wow.
So you got your massage therapy license.
I got it was reinstated.
Reinstated.
Yes, yeah.
And you started working as a massage therapist?
Yes, I started working at Massage Envy in Deerfield. Mm-hmm. You know, it was right nearby my house. I dropped the kids off at school.
Do you still do that?
Actually, I'm more into fitness coaching right now.
So now you're fitness coaching.
I'm fitness coaching. I'm doing nutrition. I do have some massage clients, but I work with older clients. I do a lot of aquatics with them. Okay. So I work with fibromyalgia. You know, a lot of them will have hip surgery, and that I have a little special place for my my people, and they're coming back during the summer. So the season. So I'm pretty excited about that. So I still do that on the side, but my passion's fitness. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I'm going to a 12-week course for public speaking, and I'm working on writing a book and telling my story, because there's a lot more to my story.
I'm sure there is.
A lot more. So trust me. And it's good. It's all good. Life lessons and really cool stuff. So
awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So when we come back, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to listen to some of our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to talk about the mindset that you had when you were overweight compared to the mindset that you have now.
Oh, yeah.
And how you can maintain that positive mindset. So, travelers, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Traveling Investor on W4CY Radio. Please take a moment to listen to the sponsors who have a secret message just for you. Don't leave. The best is yet to come. The Traveling Investor will be right back.
Behind everything you're searching for is something you're actually looking for. When you search with the Real Yellow Pages, you get more than a contractor. You get a whole new curb appeal. It's not just getting directions to a dry cleaner with YP.com. It's rescuing an old favorite from the back of the closet. And it's more than finding a locksmith with YP.com on your mobile. It's getting to sleep in your own bed. Whatever it might be, there are more ways to search and more ways to find exactly what you're looking for with the real yellow pages, YP.com, and YP.com on your mobile. Only from AT&T.
Hey, this is Rebel Medler. Join me for In Your Face on W4CY.com, Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Fiesta Pet Deli, South Florida's original deli for pets. We carry a full line of products like Bravo, Nature's Variety, and BioComplete. We have FDA-approved meals that are prepared daily. Stop by our brand new store located at Sample Road and the Turnpike in the Festival Flea Market in Pompano, Florida, or call 954-971-2500. Check us out online at www.realfoodforpets.com. If your pet's overweight, suffers from skin problems, or you suspect food allergies, we have the solution. We also carry a large variety of pet strollers, bedding, apparel, collars, leashes, natural chews, and grooming supplies. Veterinarian owned and operated, Fiesta Pet Deli's mission is to help every pet owner have the healthiest pet they possibly can. Call us today for local deliveries or shipping throughout the United States. Call Fiesta Pet Deli today at 954-971-2500. That's 954-971-2500.
You are now tuned into W4CY Radio, entertainment at your fingertips.
I wanna be rich. Oh, I wanna be rich.
Attention listeners, we are preparing once again for takeoff, so please return to your seats as W4CY Radio welcomes back your real estate guru, the traveling investor, Nitsan Mosery.
Hey travelers, welcome back. Nitsan Mosery, the traveling investor on W4CY Radio, the best internet radio on the planet. And I've got Joy Nash here, who started at 40 years old, being overweight and depressed, married, not very happily, 3 kids, didn't know what was going on with her life, but then was able to put together a system, change her mindset, and as you can see here, that's Joy on the left, and that's Joy on the right today. And it's amazing how when you set your mind to something, and you have a big enough why, and your passion is strong enough, there's nothing you cannot accomplish. There's nothing that you can not achieve, right? So let's go back to when you were 40 and overweight. What kind of mindset did you have?
I was in a mindset of just like hopelessness, like to the point where, you know, I had faith, but it was not strong enough to really get a hold of seeing a way out. And it was like, okay, I'm the only child. I can't tell my family because my family won't understand and they can't do anything. And all it's going to do is stress them out. So I'm going to keep it to myself. So not only was I going through all of this, but I couldn't tell my family. And, you know, till this day, I don't know how I did it, but I was like, you know what, if I tell them, I'm being selfish because I'm hurting them more than I'm helping them because they can't help me. And by me telling them would hurt them more. I did tell them later on, and it was to the best because I was like, oh my God, you went through all of that. I said, yes, but here I am now. Mm-hmm. So it was also a good thing for my family and for me because I'm, you know, being the only child, I've learned to stand on my own 2 feet, to be very independent. I traveled a lot on my own, California, went to Canada. I went to concerts on my own. So I've already got that entrepreneurial, fearless kind of princess warrior, but I never really fully tapped into my potential and my abilities. And, you know, because of my childhood, I built up a lot of walls and through my faith and going to church and meeting people. And I'm not saying you have to go to church. I'm saying some kind of organization, some kind of belief system. It's what you believe is your higher power, but it's a healthy, it's positive, it's you know, whatever it is, it's got to be in reinforcing and good, where you're helping one another out. So all of these, you know, that's why I'm saying, as far as to get into something that you're going to break free from that mindset. So that was the first thing, that the introduction to going back into an organization where I'm meeting people, seeing how families are supposed to be operated. So it kind of breaks up all of those clouds, those veils of, wow, you know, and then there's more possibilities. So, but then again, it took me to want more of it, to pursue more of it. But like I said, I always had that, you know, I'm a go-getter kind of person. But what was neat about it, as now that I've gone through that, I'm thankful for it.
Sure.
I am so thankful for it, because I was always a humble person anyway, and I always would talk to anybody. But it really calmed me down, and it really taught me how to have discipline and to have self-control. It taught me so many things. And being in that mindset, like I said, it was like I was attracting the things I hated. And the more I would complain about my husband and the way my husband treated me, the more he treated me that way.
Right.
And I was accepting it. So why wouldn't he? So why would I keep complaining about it? I had to do something about it. There was a time I have to do something about it. And actually, that's one of the things I was always praying for. I said, if there's just, I can see just that time. When that time's right, I want to see it, and I want to plan for it, and I want to run. And that's exactly what I kept in my head, that I'm going to look, I'm going to wait, I'm going to plan. And when my kids got old enough, that's what I had to wait for. That's when I just said, okay. And I think it was that meditating it over and over and over in my head. And then again, when I would read scriptures and I would read affirmations, I would think of those things when the negative things were being said to me. You're worthless, you're nothing, whatever it would be. I would say, no, this is what, you know, God says about me. This is who I am, not what X, Y, Z. So even though it was still in there, I'm not saying it wasn't, but it was like breaking, you know, like, again, like an onion starts coming off more and more and more. So that's pretty much what really impacted me. You know,
so there's a couple of things that you said in there that are pretty powerful, right? You got to have a community, right? You're talking about a community that can support you. Positive affirmations, right? Because not only do we need to keep the positive affirmations for ourselves, because we can kill ourselves even before getting out of bed in the morning, but also from the outside world, right? There's the inside world and there's the outside world. These two factors always coming at us, right, knocking us down. We're our own worst enemy. Right?
Actually, usually before anybody opens their mouth, we're attacking ourselves.
Exactly. So. You know, so it takes a lot of dedication, it takes a lot of commitment, and it takes a lot of desire to want to change. First of all, right? First, you got to have that desire, right? Then you got to find, and then you got to have that why, right? Why do I want to change? Why do I want to become better? Why do I want to do this? And that why has to be extremely strong, right? You know, you said it for yourself, right? You needed to get out of that relationship, for your family, for your children, for yourself, so that you can have a better life and they can have a better life, right? And then you went into the nutrition world, right? How important is nutrition to a positive mindset? You know, not many people talk about it, but it's huge, isn't it?
Yes,
right?
Extremely. And I mean, to the point where I'm not a nutritionist, but from my studies, and also I pick the brains of my nutritionist friends, that even to the point where it will affect you hormonally. Like sugar, my daughter I'm telling you, she's 14, and even though she had it, she went completely off sugar for her monthly. And I'm telling you right now, she still had the cramps, but she was so calm and more docile.
Right.
And I'm not saying, you know, everybody's got to go off sugar. Nobody's going to. But it really does. The sugar, all of these things, the GMOs,
Sure.
all of these things that are not supposed to be in our bodies. And then our bodies are trying to break all of these things down.
That's right.
And then you wonder why so many people are getting, you know, autoimmune diseases and all of these other things. So I really try to eat pretty much all natural foods. I'm gluten-free, GMO. I'm not a vegan completely. I'm trying to be, but it's very, very hard. So give me some credit for trying, vegans out there.
Right.
But I found that I mean, I have so much energy. I know that has a big part of it. It's not just, you know, spiritual food, but it's that what you're putting in your mouth. My body doesn't have to go through as much process to break my food down. It's assimilated like that. That's why I have to eat every 2 hours, and I'm tricking my body to burn fat. You know, and people say, well, I can't eat that much. You've got to train yourself.
Sure.
You're going to discipline yourself to have maybe a half a bagel or maybe even a yogurt or something, so your body can kickstart and get used to getting fueled and fed. And you're going to drop weight. You're going to, just from eating every 2 hours the right food, you don't have to go on a diet.
No,
there's no such thing as a diet. It's just
a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle, and that's why I come in to help you.
Right. You know? So someone would call you up, and you would look at them holistically, at their nutrition, at how much activity,
their nutrition, their medical history, their background. You know, and a lot of it's not just because people want to eat bad. There's also emotional. Some people
absolutely.
have addictions, and even though they might not be overweight, you know, I have a friend, and she actually lost 40 pounds with me when I first started going back to the gym. That before and after, it was just when I started. I met her in November, and I started in September, and she lost 40 pounds. But what kicked her back was she eats at night, and she eats healthy food at night, but it's the calories.
It's the calories.
She's like, well, I'm eating 2 apples and peanut butter. It doesn't matter.
Right.
You're eating too much.
Right. Not only that, but if you know, our bodies, we're in tune. When the sun's up, we're active. This is when we should be eating. When the sun goes down and the night falls, and the night comes, you know, the body starts to repair. It starts to go into that other mode that it needs to: cleaning, repairing, building, fixing, detoxing, all that. And if you're feeding it, well, everything gets put in the fat cells immediately.
And you're not moving.
And you're not moving, you're not burning it. And, you know, it's funny because sometimes I'll, you know, before I go to bed, I'll have a, you know, veggie or a celery stick or, you know, a couple of cucumbers or something. Not often, because it's not good to eat at night, but sometimes I'm up late working.
You can eat that stuff.
And I do that. And I'll notice that I don't sleep as good when I have anything in my stomach than when I've stopped eating at 8 o'clock at night, and then I've let my body digest, clean, process, and then I go to sleep, and it's like it's as if my body is resting. It's not breaking down food. It's not digesting. It's not assimilating. It's not doing anything. It's you guys should try it. It's amazing, right? Stop eating at 8 o'clock at night. See what happens. You know, the first couple of nights you probably go, this is crazy. I'm starving. But it's your body gets accustomed to it. You get used to it, and immediately you start seeing the effects of it, right? So it does affect the mindset. You know, I also read a study that says sleep affects your ability to be successful or not. How you think, your mood.
Sleeping is actually number one.
Yep.
With aging and so many other factors, because if you don't sleep, you're gonna get stressed out, like you say, your mind. Thank God I sleep really, really good. I go to bed usually like about 11 o'clock, and I get up at 5:30. but I sleep like a rock.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot has to do with discipline in your mind, because you have the power over your own mind.
That's right.
And if you confess that you don't, well, you're not going to.
That's right. Whatever you think you're right.
So as far as sleeping, even if you have to write down something that's going on in your mind, or write down something you got to do the next day, try to clear your mind before you go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have to, put on try meditation music. If you can't do meditation music, there's tons of YouTube where you can do mantras. There's some that they have the Zen, they have the different Zen sounds. They have all these different affirmations. There was one lady, she's amazing, and she says all of these affirmations for prosperity. And it's all prosperity, or all about peace.
Beautiful.
So there is no excuse for anyone to be in a situation of a state of, depression, because I'll be honest with you, sometimes it doesn't happen every often. I get hit in the morning and it's like, wow, these thoughts coming in, and it's a battle. I mean, I'm beating them down. Even when I'm sick, I had a flu and my whole body was affected. My back, I couldn't even get out of bed. I had to have my 11-year-old stay out of school.
Oh, wow.
Because I go. And when I get sick, I'm like, I'm down for the count. But again, I played affirmations. I was listening to affirmations. I was listening to Tony Robbins. I was listening to all of these things, and I took a lot of vitamins. I was eating healthy. And I'm telling you, I woke up in the morning with not one pain.
That's awesome.
And I went to work the next day. And I was like, no, I do not accept it. And I mean, you got to really mean it. And sometimes people say, well, it doesn't work for me. But keep trying. Sometimes it didn't work for me either. There's other times I'll be in bed for 2 days, but don't quit.
That's right.
Keep it up. Keep confessing it,
That's right. Yep.
Don't be a quitter. Don't say I can't. I tell my kids, don't have that I can't in your vocabulary.
That's right.
You can. I'm going to try. I'm going to do my best.
That's right. I tell that to my daughters as well. I can't do it. I can't find it. I said, it's not that you can't. You didn't find it. So now figure something else out. It's not that you didn't try, or that you just figured out what doesn't work. Now go figure out what does work, and it'll take a little time. So yes, it's also a lot of the vocabulary, a lot of the words that we use in our mind.
Oh yeah.
That guide us as well. Jim Rohn has a great saying. He goes, the wind of change, the wind of success, the wind of opportunity, the wind of anything, all blows on us the same way. It's how we set our sails on our boats that will determine if we get to our destination or not. So, we all have negative thoughts. We all get punched in the face. We all get knocked down in our industries and in our relationships, right? But it's how we set our mind and how we set our sails, right? Are we tough enough? Are we strong enough? Do we have what it takes? Is our passion and desire big enough to make us stand up, brush everything off, and continue moving forward, right? It's all about persistency. It's all about continuing to move forward. So we got a last minute here. So Joy, why don't you tell our travelers out there how they can reach you if they're looking to get into health and fitness and just improve the way they are?
Okay. Actually, it's called MobiPop. It's Joy, Joy, .mobipop, MOBIPOP.info, INFO. And you can also find me, if you can't remember that, it's Fitness4 Joy on Instagram, Facebook, and also LinkedIn.
Give me one of these. Look at us. Look at that muscle. Before and after pictures. Check us out. All right, travelers. Well, this was a great show. Joy, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. We'll definitely want to have you back on the show. And we've got some parting gifts. We got a Traveling Investor pen for you.
Thank you.
And we've got a Traveling Investor T-shirt, right?
It looks like it glows in the dark, too.
There you go. Absolutely.
Right.
So you can take that. Awesome. Thank you. And travelers, I'm going to leave you with this last blessing that I like to share with people. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. And may the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields. Until next week, I'm Nitzan Mosley, the Traveling Investor. I'll see you somewhere on Spaceship Earth. Take care.
I like that one.
Wow, what a great show. Are you excited to learn the untold secrets of how to get wealthy? Then tune in next Thursday and every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern right here on W4CY Radio. You too can learn how to become a traveling investor. If you missed any part of this episode or want to hear it again, go to the Traveling Investor Podcast on iHeartRadio. You can listen to all past episodes on demand 24/7. Next week's episode will take us somewhere new and exciting, so don't miss it. Thank you for listening.
I wanna